That's great. That's not or was it alcohol? Actually, oh, I don't know how. I actually do need to wait. That's what I think. I think we you bitching out for
So,
Mika, how was the quiz?
if you didn't read the book, you will do well.
That's what I thought.
The presentation is like
The study guide I did yesterday, and I went through it, and it was alright.
yeah, I know. Like there's definitely doing some of them that I was like, I didn't read the book.
but then, yeah.
Really are. First year. Yeah, I'm wondering about that. Yeah, there's 10. There's a slashing roll. If you went down to slash this. I have a prediction on this guy. Moon? No, I've seen Ping around. Yeah. No, he didn't even have his name on his sign. It was like last minute. We thought it was a joke. That's Photoshop on. Oh yeah.
Alright, so the order, and first off, I have a volunteer from Green. Please.
May we, the student senate, have wisdom, patience, and guidance to be responsible representatives. May we use their judgment, aligning their discussions and ethical interactions. May there go Broncos. Abby, here. Justin.
Here.
Raul.
Here.
Luke.
Here.
Kyle.
Yep.
Amber. Zachary.
Here.
Cam. Eric.
Here.
Lydia. Here. Allie.
Present.
Emmy.
Here.
Connie. Duncan.
Here.
Mika.
Here.
Christian.
Here.
Allie. Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the meeting for
Second.
Motion from Eric, second from Penny. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No. With the issue that you brought up next.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Motion from Kyle, second from Ally. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Let's move right into it. For our new business, we have an RSO pending approval. First up, Steve. It's already set. There you go. If you want, you can have any this last point, or you can want to do.
No. Cool.
So ski club.
Yeah.
So you'll have 5 minutes to present. I'll put one minute. We have 1 minute left, and then wait eventually when you guys are done. And please, if I do wait and you run out of time, please stop.
Yep, sounds good. Let me get some.
Sure. Alright, so we're the Santa Clara Ski Club, pretty self-explanatory. Next slide. So pretty much what Santa Clara Ski Club hopes to be is just like a skiing and board community for SU students, maybe faculty, alumni, anyone who takes passion in the outdoors, especially up in the Tahoe region. We hope to organize and gather groups of students to go to Tahoe during the weekends and kind of get off campus and engage in some winter activities, mostly skiing, snowboarding, and then maybe some night activities in the region, which includes there's this place called Woodward, and it's really good for practicing your skiing and stuff off the slopes, so it's a good workout. And pretty much our mission statement is just provide students with the necessary tools in order to ski and board, and digitally connect students with a passion for similar outdoor activities at a reasonable price. So pretty much how we operate, if we were to on a weekly basis, is first come, first served. So that means whoever signs up first will get priority of spots on the trip, and members of the cars will probably be prioritized as that's probably going to be our main mode of transportation up to the mountains. Right now, we're looking at like groups of 50 plus students going up weekly for trips. Usually, like they would be staying all in one house, or like maybe 2 condos right at the bottom of Squaw Valley or nearby areas. And if you can't pay for your spot on the trip, it'll be forfeited to the next person in line. So right now we've had, last year we kind of ran informally, there was about 60 students who signed up, and pretty much if you couldn't go up, you would just toss it out, next person in line to get that spot. Also, food's at the expense of the member. That being said, we're not asking students to pay for like these fancy restaurants at the bottom of the ski resorts. There's a Safeway right on the access road going up to a lot of these North Tahoe region mountains, and we stop there before going up, so you can buy food at local Safeway. And transportation would be organized by club officers and stuff, and other members. So right now, connections with organizations, national organizations, or companies is Altera Mountain Company, and they pretty much run a program called Icon Pass, which I work for. And this pretty much cuts, so Icon Pass is a season pass of 41 different ski resorts across, I guess, mostly in the US, but it ranges all the way to Australia, Canada, Japan. It's a season pass, and pretty much Icon's doing this fantastic deal for college students where they give 50% discounts as long as you verify that you're enrolled in school. So a pass that goes from being foods $1,100 to begin, lower down to $579, which is really awesome for college students because skiing is pretty expensive to begin with, and having 50% off really helps everyone out.
So we're going to have a few different events just to get people involved. The info sessions are going to be sort of to get prospective members, give sort of information on the coming weekend, that trip in particular, given that we might move around to some different mountains and different lodging, that kind of stuff. We're also hoping to do some movie screenings, just ski stuff related, just, to get people, members excited about skiing. And then to get more members as well, we're going to table outside of Benson, as many other clubs do. So there's already been like a bunch of expressed interest in this club so far. On Facebook, we have a group of over 60 students at Santa Clara who have already expressed interest in joining this club. It's kind of crazy to think that a ski club hasn't already been created at SU, given just how much interest there is in skiing among the students here.
And,
also, this program does, like, skiing, great opportunity. Staff could be included on these trips. Alumni last year, I know me and Adam went up a couple times. It's not like alumni would be part of our trip, but we do meet up with them once we get up there. A lot of the alumni that graduated work in San Francisco also like going up skiing time on the weekends when they have some free time. And so last year we met up with a bunch of alumni, a few separate weekends just to catch up and go skiing.
Yeah, and additionally, it's a great way to network with people you might be spending time with after you graduate Santa Clara that would also want to go skiing in Tahoe. And you were saying that you talked to different organizations.
Yeah, so I have emailed a few different colleges just on their ski programs as well. We're hoping to kind of do some joint trips with some schools down like further SoCal, USC, take some trips to Mammoth. We think this would be a great opportunity to sort of get more involved with other schools with similar communities.
Yep.
All right, thanks guys.
We got to cut you off there because it's 5 minutes.
Okay.
But we will have some questions, like 3 questions. So, any questions for Ski Club? Alan.
How do you guys plan to fund your club?
Yeah, so we were going to ask for the school, okay, well, it would be, members would pay, basically to get us on the trip, and then we would also ask from the school to subsidize for the trip. So we did some research, and a house in Tahoe on average costs between $2,000 and $4,000 every weekend. That being said, yeah, for 50 plus people. That being said, if the school could subsidize a portion of that, that would bring down the cost from like around $200 a student to $150. Would make it a lot more economically feasible for a lot of students.
I would just like advise you guys to make like a waiver
or something in case people get injured? Yeah, so branching off of that, skiing is definitely a dangerous thing, and we recognize that. And when members join, we will definitely have them sign a waiver, sort of releasing liability from the school, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and we also generally just try to encourage members to always wear helmets and just practice safe skiing habits.
Zach.
Would your organization plan and execute skiing for students even if you weren't an RSO?
Yeah, so that's what we've kind of been doing this past year. It's been a little bit disorganized. I think through the school we'd be able to get like a larger gathering of people in the community and kind of get more people interested in it. I don't want to say that not a lot of people are interested in it, but I feel like it's a very select group of a couple of people that are involved right now. Like we all know each other fairly well. And that's how it's been operating. But if we go through the school, we'd be able to turn this into more just like one friend group branching out into like more community-based trip up to squad, get to meet new people and stuff like that.
Branching off of that, yeah, like Kobe said, we've been doing this for the 2 years that we have already been in Santa Clara. All of us individually have like a lot of experience, sort of within ski trips. I went to like a ski high school. I did ski trips like across the globe. I've seen how difficult the logistics can be of this, and I feel that we're all up for that challenge. Hobie is a ski instructor. Herman has been skiing since he was young. We definitely feel like we have the experience necessary to manage this club.
Okay. Additional questions will be reported to you through Kyle. Thank you very much. Alright. So, I'm surprised you guys. It has to be a lot shorter than planned today because only one club of you guys turned in their presentation before 5 p.m. this time. So we're going to hold them to a standard. So we're going to move right into bylaw. Yeah, it should be up there. All right. All right, so if you'll remember, we tabled this last week because we didn't have officially a VP yet. And so both Sahil and Charlie would be able to speak on this position before we start. So,
Look, we have a VP now. It's great. So, I mean, everything else is pretty much the same. So we changed it from executive staff to chief of staff. We thought that sounded better. And most of everything what you guys saw last week is pretty much the same. I know from what I heard, because I was in the Senate last week, there were a lot of questions on how this position is going to be used, why it's going to be there, and basically like what's the point of it. So if you're going to answer any of your questions, just let me know. Just what are you guys concerned about?
I heard it last time, but I don't think the name chief of staff makes sense. They don't have a staff that they're the chief of, so maybe something like executive assistant or chief.
Okay.
They are the staff, they're not the chief of.
Okay.
I think last week you were having a debate that do you guys would need someone, one person to help you to go with something or not, because you didn't have a VP then, so you didn't go through that experience of working some second person so far. So my personal opinion would be wait out this quarter, see how the workload is. We all are new. Like you have been in the Senate before, but as a president, and so for Charlie, he just left the neighborhood related job, I suppose. So try it out for 1 quarter and see how it goes, maybe, and then I would say try it out. From the time commitment goes this quarter, maybe you can look at the portion. That's my opinion because the time commitment is a thing.
Yeah. So if I were to respond to that, there's like the time commitment, like in the bylaws it says like 30 to 40 hours, but it really is like all the time. Like the reason why like this job is I feel like necessary and something that Charlie feels is necessary as well is because there's a lot of things that just like me and Charlie have to do. Like we are constantly responding to emails and we're in the meetings that people ask us to go to. Like the executive staff or assistant person is not going to be able to go to those meetings for us, right? Like what they're going to be helping us with is like the planning of these events, like the logistics of doing things, so that we have a little bit more freedom to be creative and do projects with you guys and help you guys with projects. So most of the time, it's not going to be like they're not going to have like a specific like day-to-day job that they do this. Like it's going to be changing from like it's going to be variable, right? Like it's not going to be like just one thing.
Can you give like an example of the something that we're like working on right now and what you would delegate to the chief of staff and the staff?
Yeah, I'd love to give you one. For example, I'm working on the committee appointments right now, and there's a lot of information scattered all over the place in like various emails and like different websites to figure out all the information and like how to put it together. So I've been working with Ted on that one, and he suggested as well that that would be an opportunity where we can fit in the chief of staff to just help like compile information from a variety of sources, and, like make it easier for us to do our jobs and like save the burden from the other administrators who help us.
Another thing could be helping, like for example, there's gonna be like an ASG calendar you guys can all got invited to, right? Helping to update that and keeping that like fully updated along with Cecilia. There can be another job that they can do. Sure.
I think that when this first was proposed, it didn't make sense to me to have an extra staff member, but I think I've definitely come around. Especially like being like working election committee with Charlie, like that was a lot of work. Like I sunk a good probably like 10, 20 hours into that, just sending emails, just doing all these things. So like having part of the responsibility that Charlie was doing, like on top of obviously my committee chairmanship, like it was a significant amount. And so I think like the other branches have obviously wider staffs or wider like a support group for them to rely on for different pieces, and I think it does make sense to add one to you two. Obviously, I don't think they should be stipended at this point. I think we already discussed that. Yeah, we should change the name, but otherwise. So.
Allie and Kyle and
I actually say I like the name change. I thought it would be cool just so we get more like rep like something on my resume or whatever. But I was also thinking one of my major concerns from like last week was just making sure that they have like they're not overworked in a way. Like I don't want them to not get credit for like initiatives and things because they're just doing a small part, but they're doing a small part of everyone's work. So I was wondering whether there's something you can put in there that makes it like limits the total burden that they might be taking on, so they're not like potentially overworking everyone. Because I know you don't want to, but like in the future, like what if this spirals to like presidents in the future, like not taking as much work on and pushing it off.
So what do you mean by like put something in to make sure that
like it is like would it be possible to come up with like an hour, like a number of hours that they work or something like that, so that like they can have some sort of like specified guidelines as to like limit the amount of like potential future abuse. Yeah, that's my mind.
I just personally, I don't necessarily see a huge need for this position. In years past, administrations have been able to handle the workload just fine. It's been pretty much the same. It's pretty much just what they put into it is what they get out of it. And I just don't fully think that there's a need for this extra position. They have a whole cabinet. They just have a lot of just other supportive centers we can help with projects and stuff. It's just there's a lot of positions already created that's here to help support them. I just don't fully see a need for this position.
Yeah, I also agree with that. I don't think that this position is really necessary. I think if you want to have this position, it needs to be stipend. But I mean, I don't know, Ted, it seems that we can't do that. But I would just say if someone else is taking on the work that you guys are doing, they should probably be rewarded for it in some way.
Yeah, I just think if Sawhill and Charlie think that this can help them and help them be more successful and allow ASG to do a better job, I just trust their discretion, their judgment. So I think if they think this helps them, then I think there isn't really any downside to me. If yeah.
Are you guys full-time students for these 3 quarters? And you're taking, I'm going to say 16, 20 units. Being a full-time student is a lot of work, and also adding the 30 to 40 hours is a lot. I know most of you all look for full-time jobs, and this is a full-time job, so I see the need, especially if you want to make effective changes to have a position.
Question is, does this have to be an entirely like separate person? Like, what if someone in Senate, like what if someone who's already on Senate, or someone within ComDev, or someone within judicial, like as a role as a senator or whatever, also did this instead of having to hire an entirely different person? Because I feel like if it's not that, it feels like they're really just like a worker and not really like someone who's super involved.
I mean, well, to say that, like to that point, like what is your role as a senator? You're a sophomore senator, right?
Yeah.
So your role is to, like, your role is to represent your constituents, right? So you wouldn't be representing your constituents doing this part of the job.
I feel like this. It would be very like this job is very important, right? And there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information that an executive. Like who would you hire? Do you have someone in mind? Is it someone who's really new to ASG? Like I don't like.
We have to consider the application
Yeah.
we received.
I mean, we can't just like appoint them and be like, this is the only person. Like we obviously have to have applications and do the process that's already set in place. So we can't say for sure that we have people in mind that we know for 100% that we want them. Because we obviously have.
Okay, Rob, I'm gonna help.
Why do you think like previous presidents and vice presidents didn't come up with this? Like, I'm sure you guys have the same workload as them. You have been here as president and vice president for like a month or 2 months, whatever. But they have been like for the entire year, but they never brought it up. Why do you think so?
Yeah, I can think of a specific example that the last 2 generations of executive teams have discussed the idea of the Blue Earth Light project on Bellamy.
I would prefer
Yeah.
them to answer, but
Oh, well,
I mean, it
sure,
goes for both guys.
Whatever.
yeah, I'm going to continue that so I hope can piggyback
Yeah.
off of me. But, for example, the Blue Light project has been mentioned as an interesting idea for the last 2 generations of executive teams, and they haven't been able to actually push forward with it. So that just goes to show that if you're being pulled in like multiple directions with other projects, you're not going to be able to fully invest yourself in our interest areas. And that specific project is one that we really hope to push past the finish line, and it'd be a shame to have another year wasted because we're not able to put in the effort that we want to.
Also, another thing is this is actually something other execs have brought up. Like Ted talked to us about this. He's the one who actually like helped us formulate this idea of like a chief of staff or an executive staff position. So other ASG like president or execs have thought about this, but have never done it because they just like thought about it too late. Like at that point, it just didn't make sense to have it.
Okay, holding up there, that's been 10 minutes of Q&A. And I want to gauge how long we want to continue discussion. I have 7 minutes left on this like agenda item. That takes up everything that we had planned for the car search. Is that so?
Here, I think we've kind of exhausted this. I think why don't we come up with a specific like action plan for how to change this bylaw, and then I think we should proceed to a vote.
Okay. Alex?
I have one question related to Justin's question.
Yeah.
I like the idea of coming up with action. May I ask a question? So I was wondering, like, related to Justin's point, I think what he's concerned about is that someone would just be doing like behind the scenes work without having any of their own initiatives or their own interest in ASG as a CSO. So I was wondering, do you have any ideas of how to make them feel incorporated into the CSO as a whole instead of just like behind the curtain as manager?
I think it'd be pretty easy to pitch that. We would express to them that they have the closest accessibility to the president and vice president, so they have the best ability to like be in our ear and pitch ideas if they were like particularly passionate about it.
They're not gonna be like completely out of the loop. Like it's like if they had an idea, we're not gonna open up. I mean, if you guys had an idea and you brought it up to me, it's like I would still listen to you and try to make it happen, right? So I mean, if it.
Are there any suggestions for action?
Well, no.
Oh, wait, specific for the action plan? You guys are talking about the hours?
Hold on, so I don't- I mean, wait.
Well, I wanted to bring another point. It seems to me that the sort of name chief of staff is kind of probably provides too much of a sense that this is like a professional position, rather than somebody who's assisting the president or vice president with the duties with a sort of creative project, right? One of the ways that we addressed this back in Council today is actually the way that I got involved in student government. I'm unaware of any internship program through ASG. So the year before I got to City State, that's what the board of directors decided to do, was to create an internship program called the first year interns. It doesn't have to be first year, but that's what they addressed. So they essentially created this program so that first year students would be able to access student government in a unique way by joining in with it's a different format that we use, but they'd be able to join student government to assist president and any other member of the board with their projects. It was 5 limited students who were all first years. That's just one suggestion that I may have is instead of creating a single position that honestly should be paid if we're going to move forward with that idea. It's somebody who's going to be like full-time helping you guys out with everything and maybe adapted to be a series of students who would all be able to put it on the resume that they enter into a promotional organization, and not be paid.
Oh, well, first, the intern thing, when I was applying to all the people who also do the first year. And that's going to be like a complicated, like, first, like, it's fun, like, the whole first year, like, election process. And can you scroll down, like, we're going to push it an appointment, or is it like an application?
Forms are out there.
Okay.
Stopper, you guys play on an action.
Yeah, so, Eric brought up, like, putting an hourly thing.
Yeah.
So, what kind of, like, hourly commitment do you guys like? I would say, like,
Okay, Struggle, who would like this more if it had hourly? Who would not like this more if it had hourly? Okay, let's get it. You able to vote? Yeah. We're like exactly the same. Yeah.
What if for senators, because we're not, like other positions, like what's the average time do you know? 5
This is
so I would say, like, 5 to 10 too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that.
Yeah.
Well, for like our action plan or whatever, I think we should change the name. It's free. There are at least a handful of positions on other branches in ASG that are called assistant. I don't think it's exhaustive for us to call this executive assistant.
Okay.
That's our thing.
Struggle, who favors executive assistant? Who does not favor executive assistant? Why?
I think if we want to entice people to this position, we should give them So I really like the new chief of staff, and I think someone said last Senate that it would perhaps open the door to add more to this later on.
I think I might have said that second part, and I also think that, so I agree with that part, and then I also think that it's cooler, and I think one of the big things of ASG is like copying the United States government almost, and I think that'd be kind of cool to continue in this position as well.
Brought up in the
So we'll go for questions like, how do we attract people? I like what the idea here because it's like in the US Congress, all they have some meetings, people have those, and they could work on individual projects, they could do like projects, year increase projects. It could be great because people would be attracted to it, and that's why you attract them by giving them some program that is new there. Because if they're just doing something like you would also have more people, like 5 people or something. That's more beneficial, I guess. You guys can think of that idea.
I personally already think executive assistant sounds great, executive assistant, but anyway, I think maybe executive staff also good, but doesn't go as far as chief of staff because chief of staff implies a staff is below them. That's incorrect.
And can we just make a poll, like, what names you prefer you go in, what the information is, and you guys can go through it just to save time?
we're talking build your own assistant.
Yeah, like what's the name for it? Can we just put in the full executive stuff?
Sahil probably.
The name is irrelevant.
It is, right? It seems that the majority of people prefer executive assistant.
Executive staff.
Let's just do
Executive staff.
Charlie Sahil, do you think that in Cecilia's email this Sunday, send out, no wait, can we send out a form to senators so that they can choose their preferences and deal with this on the form and contact them? The name? All of it. Your name, the paid or not paid, or paid, but
I mean, I would say like for the paid not paid thing, of course we would love to pay everyone. Like that'd be fantastic. But we can't. Just saying.
Right. Okay. Can I have hands or your own?
I think I've also kind of like come around a bit. It's like I know Eric mentioned that in the beginning it was a little ambiguous as what this role was going to be, and going on like the paid or unpaid thing. I think that like keeping it 5 to 10 hours is more considerate of that person's needs and like also their needs. So I think that if it were only 5 to 10 hours, this is definitely not a paid position that it shouldn't be paid. But then if it were to become more hours, like 15 to 20 hours, then that's when we start to look at whether it should be paid or not. And for that to happen, I think a year in this role wouldn't be necessary.
Can I have 5? Can I have 3 hands with ideas for what to put on a Google Form poll?
Have executive staff, executive assistant, and chief of staff for the names, and then we can put we want to add the hours or not be 5 to 10 hours. I think that would be all that we have.
I was just going to say that I feel like the only things left that we are debating are the names because I don't think it's feasible for us to make this a paid position, and we already included the work hours in the description that would like explain the fact that it's not really necessary to be paid. So I wanted to know if there was some sort of way that we could vote on this with like a contingency of next week reassigning the name if it were to be approved.
Okay. I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm not comfortable voting on something that's not ready to be shipped. That's so clever. Can I get a straw poll of who's willing to vote on this right now with the name executive staff? If it fails, and it turns out that the name is a problem, you can bring that to
I just give one thing. So for the responsibilities part, I love that you guys want to like talk more about the responsibilities. But the problem is like those responsibilities are definitely going to come up as like they're there, right? Like we'll figure out like a balance, and obviously we have the 5 to 10 hour limit or 5 hour estimated limit. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's more going to be about just assisting us in places that they can assist us in. That helps with that.
Exactly.
The only problem I have is that the current description of the responsibility is so vague that assisting you with things is fine, but I think creating more specific responsibilities will not only help the Senate hold this person accountable to the position, but additionally, I think if we're trying to say that we're going to figure it out as we go, that would mean that every single time that we want to bear any responsibility for this position, we now have issues that are supposed to set to amend the bylaws. That's a lot. So it's better to have something enumerated and specific.
So we do have it, and it is general for that specific reason. But I mean, if you look at like the description of the president, that is also extremely big.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I mean, we keep on saying that it's a limit, but we just wrote estimated hours per week, 5 hours, and I don't think that's specific enough. So if it said 5 to 10 hour limit, then I'd be much more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a comment from Raga, and then we're going to do another straw poll.
You have,
Sorry.
you already have anyone in mind for this position?
Well, I mean, like we said, we need to take an application pool. Like, we can't just say like this is going to be one person. Like, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's an application. Yeah.
Okay, did you draw a poll?
Do we change names? Today's executive staff.
Okay, you can't say estimated hours per week. You can say, you
Yeah,
can say estimated hours per week and then 5 to 10 hours per week.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's but estimated or is it what?
Just we can say
8 hours per week, 5, 10 hours.
sure. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds fine. 10-hour limit.
So estimated hours 5 and then 10-hour limit. Sorry.
Okay, straw poll. Who's ready to vote on this? Right, Emily, you have-
Yeah, name change.
I think 5 to 10 would be just fine.
There's a degree of variability to it. Some weeks they'll be doing 2 hours, some weeks may unfortunately be 11.
I mean, just for consistency's sake, can we follow that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry.
Kyle.
Motion to end discussion.
Second.
That's a thing. It is a thing. It is a thing. Straw poll, who's ready to vote? Okay. Can I get a motion to vote?
Second.
Motion from Eric, second from Justin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, okay, roll call.
Avi, Justin,
Yes.
Raul,
Yes.
Luke,
Yes.
Kyle,
No.
Zachary,
No.
Eric,
Yes.
Rava,
No.
Lydia, no, Ali,
Yes.
Emmy,
No.
Duncan,
No.
Tina,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Valerie.
Yes.
Check that out.
I think it's exactly 66. 5 to 7 hours.
Never mind. Never mind. What? Sort of. Yeah, what's calculated really quick here? Tell you what, calculate this one. Calculate. We move on to our next agenda item.
Yes.
You have. Yes. You came after me. It's like, holy boy. Okay. Now we have confirmations. David, I've been told. Alright. Yes, I'm moving on.
Good.
So we have confirmations. I've been told from Karen that their confirmation is not here, so we do have one. We do have one confirmation for junior senator, and that is Manella Teeter. Step to the front, please.
Go for it. It's all you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's all you.
Okay, Juliana, just 30-second introduction of yourself and why you want to be a junior senator, and then we'll take 3 questions.
Everybody, I'm Juliana. It's very nice to meet you guys. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a transfer student. I went to Foothill College, and I'm originally from East Bay. I went to a really diverse high school, so I'm super excited to be at school like Santa Clara. At first, my interpretation wasn't really, I didn't know like the area was going to be like here, but sitting in this room, I'm really excited. I think there's a lot of diversity here to offer. I myself have a lot of diverse attributes to like bring to the table. I'm Filipino and I'm half Italian German, and I really take pride in like my culture and like my community. I'm also a coach for a water polo team, and so I give back to my community through that ways, and working with like other kids versus like through like 12 and unders and all the way to high school. I really want to be junior senator because I want to be involved here in Santa Clara. Being a transfer student, sometimes it's like hard to find your voice because you're just kind of coming in and you like hit the ground running. And I think being part of government is a great way to just be involved in terms. I think there's some transfer students here. I'm not sure, but and so I think it's great to just be a voice for those students as well, and also like learning to become a voice of the students who've been here for like 4 years.
Okay. Thanks, Janelle. 3 questions.
Given to be a junior senator, how can you represent the junior class? And you have been here for a month. What is one thing you would change at Santa Clara? Like you can improve or change in your perspective?
I think personally, through the people that I've met, the transfer students, the hardest thing for them was finding their voice, and they feel like almost lonely because they just don't have a place. So I think also being here in the Senate, being able to like represent that community will be great. I have like all my friends here are pretty much transfers, and besides my roommate really, and so just being able to talk to them. I'm also in lead, and so that's also specific to transfer youth. And so I've been able to like talk to those students and then get their experience and being able to bring like that to the table as well as mine. Honestly, no. I've like tried to think of my sister. My sister went to Santa Clara too, and when I told her about this, she was in lead, also a transfer student, and it was definitely difficult because she wasn't in government and she didn't really know what it was like, and I personally didn't know what I was getting to, like getting into this position. But I met Raul. He's like really great, and he's kind of talked to me about. Sorry. And we've just like collabed and like shared our experiences and like our desires and kind of like what we like. And so hopefully through like what I've been learning here at Santa Clara and like what already I like have in mind, hopefully I'll be able to work with other junior senators.
Last question. No.
I've been playing water polo since I was a freshman in high school, and then I played at Foothill College. I did really well, and then I kind of wanted to play at Santa Clara, but just being a full-time student and also being a transfer student, I just didn't think I had the time to commit to ED1. But I love water polo; it's the best, and so that's why I coach now. And it's nice to get back to the sport. Personally, water polo, like the program I was in had like a set of like values, of 4 values that we had, and it just really changed a lot about like my characteristics and like the way I carry myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana. Will you give us the room, please?
Yes. You want me to close the door when I step out?
Yes. We will adjourn eventually. Additional comments on Juliana? Kyle.
It seems great and will add a lot of stuff to the Senate and add another junior number.
Okay.
Another transfer student.
Well, bringing them all.
I like that she's playing waterfall.
Fair.
Okay. I don't know whether it's or not. Can I get a motion to vote?
Motion to vote.
Second.
Motion from Eric, second from Joe.
Like paper.
Damn, David. Come on, dude.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Can I get a roll call?
Abby.
Yes.
Raul.
Yes.
Luke.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yep.
Zachary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Bravo.
Yes.
Lydia. Allie.
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
Shannon. Yes. Nisha. Yes. Christian.
Yes.
Yes.
Emily will swear you in.
place your right hand on the bylaws and your left hand up. And repeat after me. I please state your name.
I, Juliana Alexander,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
of the Associated Student Government of Santa Clara University.
of the Associated Student Government of Santa Clara University. Congratulations. Should I sit somewhere specific?
Move right into executive committee updates. Oh, that is a motion. Oh, yes. There's data, so therefore not superiority. We did 10. I don't believe we'll be doing it again next week. If they want to consider we'll changes to it. Okay, moving into executive committee updates. First up,
PR.
not here.
Damn.
Sure.
So yes, this week basically, she sent out an email with the adding us all to the Google group, and if you didn't get that email, let her know and reach out to her so she can add you to it. There's an exec calendar, an ASG calendar now that will have all of the events that you guys are planning on there, so it's shared with everyone. So exec can edit it, and then everyone else can view the calendar. And so I mean, she like knows what's going around, so she'll put stuff in. And so add that to your Google Calendar so you're always up to date. And then the first year candidate page is up, so that's cool. And that's that.
When's election? Or
21st.
21st, right? Yeah.
Next one, very Monday.
Congress.
So educated careers coming back for this quarter is Monday, October 28th. So for those who don't know what that is if your house is over 21, then that's the session. You could hear off the list of the city so that like you know you're constantly in communication with people, and they get like party packs with water and potentially have your first fine. Last lecture is also coming soon. If you have any ideas of really great professors that you want to hear their last lecture, send them my way. As things work.
Alright, good question. Yeah, what is not?
So last lecture is going to be ask a professor to like if this was your last lecture, like what would you tell students? And so different professors basically come and just give them their pitches about something they're really passionate about. So that's the last lecture. So they have their
It's like a presentation to us.
yeah, to like students and stuff. It's open.
Oh, yeah, it's really good, yeah.
I'm really fun. Nick? He's not here.
Nick's at the eye doctor.
Okay, he's 3 off.
He's at the eye doctor. Poor guy.
Okay.
So, yeah, awesome. People have been reaching out to me about bylaws, so that's great. That's my job, so it's useful. Support industry projects and designs, they were wonderful. You guys are finding really awesome things, and I'm super excited for this year. And when we support one another, we build a great community. And reach out to me if you need to talk about life. I'm a resource for you. Just wanting to help you guys, like, all aspects. And then the quote for this week is to. That's just like where that's something I think the quote was. Yeah, I think it's so funny. To be full of joy, to love in your life, presence is use of generosity and make
Nice.
Thank you.
BP.
Okay, so everyone here should have received an email from me regarding the winter week that's coming up. If you did not, please let me know. And I'm expecting a response from everyone by tonight at the latest, so please respond to me with your availability, dietary restrictions, and ability to provide. And
technically board if you want to meet for anything, it's just way easier. It's not like a strict offset. The only thing to add to the current project is there's things probably happening, like we're trying to set up a meeting at Gilmore for the Blue House project. Unit increase is happening with any Christian leading it, which is great. And then this link program is something that me and Maria ran on. We're presenting it to the UDCC this May, it's also the UDC, the budget council. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Keep updated on what's going on with those. Lastly, the quote I have is an argument guide does not change the circumstances, but a minute of prayer can also affect the day. A minute of prayer doesn't literally mean prayer, but just like take some time to like, just set yourself sometimes. Because I know there's obviously a lot going on, returns going on. I know I feel the stress for sure. So yeah, just take some time and put it down.
Oh, okay. So Amber isn't here, so we'll all kind of have a little bit of things. We're working on job with the Jesuits. Please come to that this time. So I'm the Career Development Senator, and we are interested in doing some of the RSG and FCC. So if you guys have any ideas, I'm meeting with the Career Center people again on December 1st. So if you guys have ideas of what you think should happen, if that's panels that are going on, better networking or internship stuff, that would be awesome. You can text me or email me your idea.
I have a question,
Yes.
How is it for people in Java with this? It sounds like a very common thing.
Oh, we're hoping we have some ideas to change it for this year.
I know it's very more fun for students,
If you have a concern about it, you can just send us a talk after. That's okay. And then our idea for our committee project is to try to get CRB cans in residence halls. So we're excited about working on that. And Duncan?
Yeah, and then my update is that it's no longer called the Substance Abuse Summit, thanks to Allie, who gave me some very good feedback. It's now the Substance Misuse Summit. It's going to be next Monday from 4:30 to 6. So we're not programming over the diversity forum. And then session 2 and 3 will be on Tuesday, the 22nd, from 6 to 7:30, and from 8 to 9:30. I can also send this to you guys. I'm sorry we didn't get it up in the slides. I can send it in a group link or something. Truthfully, I don't really know if a lot of additional people can come because we have a lot of different Greek organizations coming, and it's hundreds of people in Locatelli, which is only has a 400 person maximum. So I'm going to ask and see if additional people can come, but that's right now doesn't look like it. But yeah, if there's any questions, I'll try to see that.
Yes. So for CYC, this is just a thing of us doing ramp-up pickup for whoever wants to come out next time. I think we're skipping this weekend and doing one after. And then, so Raul, if you want to talk about Claire Day celebration again.
Yeah. This weekend we've got some events going on. So this Saturday, again, I mentioned this last week. We'll be just having a really big Father O'Brien birthday bash part 2. All you guys are free to come. It's 2 to 4. There will be a lot of free food and free stuff. I'll be checking access cards to make sure students receive free food and not prospective people. So that'll be fun. Because it also coincides with open house, and you didn't realize that when you went. And then I think a couple people have mentioned this already, but the diversity forum is on Monday, and that's something that I hope that most of you can come to. It's really important, and I think it's a great way for ASG leaders to connect with this administration because there will be a lot of different administrators there, including Father O'Brien and Interim Provost Lisa Kopenberg. It's going to be similar to the town hall, but different than past years with the forum. What we're doing differently is we're having 4 different groups. So we're going to have hot seats, and the hot seats is where each administrator is going to sit, and students will get to choose which topic they want to focus on. Some of those topics include CAPS and mental health resources, COCOA Center funding, so focusing on Coke industries, keeping track of tenure track faculty, and I'm blanking on the last one. But there's 4 main topics, and it'll start at 6:30 with a reception with free refreshments, and then it'll end at 8:30. So if you guys could all come to that, that would be great. Abby has more on that than people.
Yeah, so Boycott One FT is this coming Monday. Boycott from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. to Friday to lunch hour. And we need volunteers from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I'm going to put you an email and then also in the groupies. You can sign up for like 30-minute volunteer period or longer, but we'll need as many people as possible. And ASG will be handing out food alongside over 20 other clubs. So yeah, we're definitely interested. So please sign up for that.
We're going to be going to Costco on Sunday and making some of the food on Sunday, so if you want to help out, it'll be a lot of fun. I think we're going to cook it then. So if you haven't checked that out yet either, it might be a good opportunity to do so. What time did we say?
We'll be meeting at 11:30.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And then the Monday.
We'll let the talk about it.
Okay. The Hot Challenge is something that Jamie kind of told me this week. Even she didn't know that movie until she's actually under accessibility. Basically, it's sponsored by the company, and it's a competition between SCU, LMU, and Pepperdine. And it takes place in November. It's like 2 to 3 weeks. So the details are kind of sketch right now. So basically, every student that uses a reusable water bottle gets some kind of sticker with a code, and every day they use the water bottle to scan it. So there's a lot of questions there. So Eric and I will be helping with this, and we're going to go to our first meeting on Monday. So it'll be after that we'll have more clarification on what exactly it is. And whichever school wins, it's like a certain time period, like 2 to 3 weeks, sometime in November. They get $100,000 in funding for sustainability. So it'll be really cool. But kind of like gives all the marketing funds too. So you would just have to like type it up. And, yeah, so it's like a huge thing.
Yeah,
we need to like start marketing as soon as possible. Yeah. So I'll go to my update. So thank you to everyone that came out to Mountain Hike yesterday. They were so happy. Some of the vendors also exchanged contact info of some of the residents and are all working on these projects. So also, me and Ellie will be going to City Hall on the 30th and November 12th, and we're actually going to finally sign our own scroll in front of them. So it's some kind of event. I don't really have all the details right now. Ken and Luke are promoting scavenger hunt to Greek life right now, and there's going to be like an app to track the progress of the hunt, so it's like really modern. And there'll be more details on that soon. If you have any ideas, send it to them. Raghav is trying to bring the pool table back to Benson, and he's also trying to work on where should we get a skateboard rack around campus. You guys know there's already one in Benson, so we enter Benson for the library side. So if you have any ideas, you guys skateboard a lot, just let Raghav know where you want a skateboard rack. And also the access card sign up. And I'm trying to bring more alkane water bottles at soda stations to campus, which would be cool. Apparently we have one in the Bronco right now. Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So also, if we win this contact challenge, then we could use that money to pay for this alkane water bottle. So it's like a full circle. Yeah. So the next slide just has. So you don't need to take out your phones now. So we'll just send you. So one is for the scavenger hunt sign up. So if you have like friends that want to sign up, I think the teams are 5. Right?
It's up to 10. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. So if you want to sign up, we'll send that out. And Raghav also has the access card if you want to sign up to participate in that. We'll send that out.
Just clarification. This is only for non-ASG. You can send your. I already have your emails. You don't need to sign up.
Cool. So just kind of continuation on last week, Justin, Melanie, and Christian are still going through the historical data, minor funding trends. Mika will be going through the bylaws. We have a meeting next week with Emily to add some stuff to the bylaws. And I've been working on the Express RSO process and be prepared for that presentation in about 2 weeks of Senate. It's almost completely done. So now just moving on to the SAC recommendations for the new RSOs. So we talked this week, Creative Exchange, SAC recommends a yes vote on. Formalize them as RSO. Friendship Club also yes. The Scholarship Applies Organization yes, with the requirement to change their acronym to not SUSAC, mainly one because that's the same as us, and two, multiple other organizations on this campus use SAC as their acronym. And also we had
Also, another condition is that they are working with One Stop to make sure that they don't overstep what their responsibilities are as RSO. Regarding Southeast Asian Student Association, we recommend postponing it. We want to hear back more from MCC and APSU, also about duplications and their thoughts about it. Developer student clubs, we're working with TED. Apparently, the contract has to be written up, so it's just going to be kind of delayed for that for next week. Then SCU Vibes, we also recommend postponing because we're waiting to look at Fun Club and see if there's a possible duplication there. So that's it for our recommendations for new RSOs.
On the 6 you see up on the screen, any comments?
The scholarship advice association, sorry, the scholarship was, they only had 12 members, right? So
we would have hit the 15 required to form an RSO to vote on consent to us. So they at least have the minimum 15.
okay, I'm sorry, I think I received the sheet you sent, I saw it.
It was probably at the time. That sheet's been around through this whole process, so there's possibly out there. I haven't touched that sheet because that's just CSI's working document.
They're squared away. Additional comments on safety skills? Specifically, anything contrary to staff's recommendations? This will be depending on what we decide. Okay, cool. Can I get a motion to provide ballot on Creative Exchange, French Club, and the Scholarship Advice Organization?
Motion by Creative Exchange, the Scholarship Advice Organization.
Second. Well done. Second was second. Eric. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Just one quick thing, if I may. So everyone just is okay with also with scholarship advice, the condition put onto it. Everyone's fine with that.
Yeah. Not your name. So, any other motion?
No, motion to vote.
Oh. Can I get a motion?
Motion to vote.
Second.
Motion for Alan, second. Justin.
Aye.
All opposed? Can I get a
Abby, yes. Justin,
Yes.
Raul,
Yes.
Luke,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yeah.
Zachary,
Yeah.
Eric, Rocco,
Yes.
Lydia, Allie,
Yes.
Abby,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Mika, yes. Christian,
Yes.
yes.
All right, I'd like to do one more thing here. You don't have to repeat all this after me. I don't have to do that. Can I get a motion to postpone the three
Motion
on the bottom half?
On the three on the bottom half.
Motion from Alan, second from Mika. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll leave it at that. I'll do the roll call. Let's move on to plus now.
So this is for Society of Women Engineers. It's a pretty high funding amount that we decided to give, 85.77. We cut out entertainment mainly because it was for a trip for some sort of team bonding activity that we don't usually do. They give an example of a nice dinner or like Disneyland tours. So we just felt that it wasn't necessary. We felt like it benefited the student body. Besides that, everything else is pretty much exactly what they wanted. So.
Questions for final?
I was wondering, why is it $88 less for the lodging? Is that just the percentage?
It was the reason. No, they actually asked for less than what the percentage was. The reason why we lowered it was because they decided to fly down, and we thought it might be a little bit cheaper to drive because it is in Anaheim, but it's also for 4 days. And they were fair because they booked their hotel. Sorry, that's for the hotel.
Yeah.
It seemed a little expensive. That was it.
Motion
to vote.
Second.
Motion from Ally, second. All opposed? Okay, roll call.
Abby, yes. Justin,
Yes.
Raul,
Yes.
Luke,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yep.
Zachary,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Rocco,
Yes.
Lydia, Allie,
Yes.
Abby,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Mika,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Yes.
You got that? Kyle?
Sorry?
That's a go. You got it? Okay, go. Let's move on. Please. two announcements. So this is the third and final week that I'll harp on the mission priority exam here visiting the team. Yeah, it'll be under and man. So this is the exam. Is and yeah. Okay, so this is on Monday the 21st. Starts at 2:15, so it's right after the Bon Appetit boycott. Is in the executive conference room in St. Joseph's Hall. So that's where all of the like English professors, ethics studies professors, and one of the department have their offices. It's on the second floor, and that's where the president has all the conferences. And you've all been invited to join. I'll ask that you hit me up if you plan to go. Mrs. McMahon did ask for an account before the event, and I'd like to do that to her. Yes.
Forward this to us, or like scan
Yes.
it?
Oh yeah. Also, I pulled up the description, like the website describing what it is. Santa Clara University, along with the 28 other Jesuit colleges and universities in the U.S., are to report self-study to reflect on who we are and who we're becoming Jesuit now. Okay. So it's an exam that if you're familiar with Jesuit education, it's a reflection on best practices, how we did the Jesuit. Moving on from that, sorry, Justin, you have a question on that?
No, it's announcements.
Okay. Moving on from that, we have, I believe, a couple, Kira, aka Finn CS, amongst us, right? Is that Raul and both of you guys? Okay. So you reached out to me about Kira and ASG joining together and we're talking
So I was kind of caught off guard because like I saw this in this agenda obviously, but I can like talk about it to everyone. It's really just for David and I. but like basically, here at Outreach, as a CF, we're all assigned like emphasis areas, and what that means is that we work with different organizations within Residence Life to collaborate or cross collaborate on different events. And like here, of course, is one of the newest oral Cs. I chose ASG because I love y'all so much. I was just like, I want ASG to be my emphasis area. So I'm working with my RD, my boss, on like creating either some events or things that like David and I or exec / you guys can offer for our residents specifically. Given that our theme is like mental health and well-being, like I shouldn't say mental health. It's all well-being. Yes, secure personality. Sorry, you know it better than I do. I'm just like really exhausted. So given that that's like our theme, we want to focus on like promoting events that have to do with well-being. And so if there are any ideas that you guys have on ways that ASG can better support our residents and also for them to come out to ASG and feel like they can come and talk to us about any issues that they're experiencing, that would be great because a lot of residents have expressed that they want to join ASG but don't necessarily know how to. And given that this is like a time that like many students are like looking ways to get involved, I think it's the perfect time to kind of just like go out there and look for students that want to get involved in ASG. So if you guys have any other ideas of programs that we can do for them, or if you guys want to host a program in Kira and want to use the space there also, that can be facilitated through my RD, so I can reach out to her for you guys. So if you have any ideas and want to host an event for ASG and Kira, please let me know.
Yeah. So just quick show of hands. Who's in the lead here? Because I think I know who, but I wasn't like sure. Anyone else? Okay. So lead wants to co-host an event with ASG, and I was wondering, like, is anyone interested in like teaming up on that and like talking about that?
Yeah, sure.
Just raise your hand. So I'll just like write names. Everyone in the lead. Is there anyone else? And the other thing is, I just have a question. Is there going to be an in-and-out thing again for the first-year senators?
Okay, the mission priority thing. Also, I talked with Jeannie about Kira, and she suggested we send it there one time.
I'm meeting with her next week also.
I understand you guys like test
Yeah, just set up a meeting with her.
If there's nothing else for announcements, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion from Eric, second from me. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Can I get a roll?
Present.
Raul.
Here.
Kyle.
Here.
Zachary. Juliana. Eric. Raga. Anita. Allie.
Present.
Abby. Here. Meredith. Ida. Here. Christian.
Here.
You guys.
Kyle, I have a question for you.
Alright, sorry.
This is Kyle, correct?
No, I know.
I'm just nice. So that's
Okay. Allie, your phone. This is for the sake of club I'm in. They have to be
So, like, the ones that we've had, I think all of them pretty much are being used this quarter. The reason winter quarter, I think you have to ask for like 6 of yeah. Use in winter quarter. You have to like ask if you want it, the budget for you. And then, I think there might also be a good picture. But I know, I'm pretty sure this week 6. So yes, traditionally you ask, unless fall 12 will be the quarter before.
Like, you have to submit.
You're like on that scale. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on the strategy position if they are
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
So, like, I have
so
Steven, we're at Mod Pop. Yes, sir. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't think it was transition.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic. Yeah.
I really came around. Yeah, fairly right. So, if I somebody's like, "Fuck yourself," they would say, "Do the shit." They would say, I mean, that's really what it is. You alter the shit, it's just shared. Yeah, so that's what the is to post all our shit. How did they just let it go? That's what everyone thinks it's not was. That was forces shared. Or something from that also make a motion to vote by the way. Or a vote. And I think that would be voting. That passes then. There's so many great things that are still true. Yes, I look forward to it. There's a lot of work to do as you go. Bye guys.
Hello.
Oh, hold on. What are you saying?
Is the TV view?
Yeah.
Wow.
This summer.
Even the whole week.
So I'm kind of saying, like, first, if you have a lot of signups, like if you're showing that there's this many people coming out, then maybe they think this is their coordination. No, like pretty groups. Yes, no, so, yeah, we need. They're just going to start, so I think if they can show that they're so here, it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Have that kind of
Or $5 per person.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll ask, yeah. I'll pitch it. Because they're going to like chapters. So I told him to like, yeah, send the form.
Like pregame it. Just try to do it. You get like how many teams would you say is a lot?
I think it's like 10. 10 is a lot, right?
That is huge.
Running around. It's up to 10. I would agree. Especially if you can but they want like fun. They
If you get 10 teams, I'll give you no, they don't. Just 10 teams. And like it's people are excited for it, talking about it. Yeah. Oh.
thank you, David.
I sat next to Mary. She said, "Oh, it was fun." Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Are you in a hurry? Oh, we can walk. Yeah, we can walk. No, no, I'm not in a hurry. Oh, I'm walking. No, I'm not trying. Oh yeah, I'm very not. No, I can't.